welcome to Wakizashi's Tea House, Gray's Pick and Mix. Hey, how's it going? Good evening from Japan. Happy Monday to you out there. This is Gray from Wakizashi's Tea House. Are you good? Are you Genki? I hope you are. Let's have a look. We've got a comment. What's going on? Dwayne, good morning. Good morning from the past. He says, great to see you. I hope you've had a good weekend of comics. I've had a good weekend of YouTubing. Got back into a bit of live streaming. I think you saw a little bit of the stream I did on One Piece episode 1. Did kind of a dual normie review because I don't know much about it. With Angry Canadian. That was cool. Oh, also cool to see Eric. Eric O'Sullivan in the chat. How are you, mate? I hope you're Genki too. Yeah, how are things going? What's it like in the States? Weather okay? It's been boiling hot here. We're practicing for the Chugako. Chugako is the junior high school. Practicing for the sports day, so it was really hot. We were outside for a lot of the day today, doing relay, doing dance practice and stuff. It's crazy. The Japanese take these sports festivals, sports days, very seriously. I tell you, they really they'll even stop lessons for practice, which is cool. The kids love it. So, great to hear that, Eric. Glad you're wicked, Genki. Yeah, what's the news? What's been going on? I'm trying to think. It's time to talk comics, isn't it? Time to talk comics. And first of all, it was great being on Thinking Critical channel on Saturday with Wes and the team, the panel, even though I don't often get to say that much, but hey, maybe I just don't have a lot to say. But yeah, you know, sometimes I feel like a total newbie there. I've no idea about the kind of comic lore that everyone's talking about. You guys, you know your stuff, don't you? You make me feel like a phony, a fool. He's a fake, he's a fool, he's a phony. But yeah, it was good. It was good to be on there. Good crack, as the Irish say, good crack. And that was about it. What we're talking about, I don't know. Okay, you've got a holiday in the States. Is it Labor Day? Have you got the Monday off, Eric? Nice one. That's awesome. Good to hear. I've got a busy week, as I say, practicing for the sports day. The sports festival is on Saturday coming up this week, so that means a Saturday at work, if the weather's okay. If the weather's crap, it gets moved to Sunday, so I've got to work one of those days. I won't be able to do my Saturday stream, but I get the Monday off instead. That's cool. Thanks, mate. I appreciate it. Yeah, you know what it's like, though. It's hard to get a word in, isn't it? Yeah. Good crack. That's good to hear. So last week, what did I even review? I'm trying to think what I did. The first one that I reviewed from last week, did quite well. It surprised me on the video, the YouTube. Let me just get to it. Was The Riddler, Year 1, Issue 6, the finale. Let me just bring this up. I'm going to share my screen if I can. And do let me know if audio is okay. I'm hoping things will be better. For the first time ever, I'm actually plugged in. I'm plugged into the Ethernet. I managed to, remember to actually buy a cable and see if it would work. And hopefully it makes a difference when I'm sharing things. I don't robot, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Famous last words, eh? Tempting fate. The Riddler, Year 1, Issue 6. Written by, of course, Paul Dano, who plays the Riddler in the Batman movie, the Matt Reeves one. And art by Steven Subic. Great art, very... Vertigo indie style, a bit of a Martin Simmons style, and this was pretty good for a finale. It's $4.99, so it's a bit more expensive, but it is. I think it's supposed to be a black label, isn't it? Yeah, black label. I'd like to see the actual physical copy, see what it's like, but I had to get digital as usual. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I gave it 3.5 stars out of 5, about an 8 out of 10, between 7 and 7.58 out of 10. Nice finish. There weren't many reviews for it. People seem to like it overall. Someone here saying that I need Paul Dano to start writing comics full time. This was such a good comic. It dived into how twisted Edward's parasocial relationship is. Very cool. But yeah, it was good. I mean, you can argue that he, as an actor, he must have researched for the character. He's built this character in his head, so he wanted to explore that more through the medium of the comic book. So we got the kind of prequel story to what led him to that opening scene in Batman where you see him attacking the guy and he's taping him up. No more lies. There we go. Grief, my what's the word? I'm the dry mouth or wet mouth. I don't know what it is. So anyway, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. Did you read it? Have you been reading The Riddler, year one? We've got Dwayne saying that he's reading Mark Miller's Fantastic Four, issue 554 to 569, and an annual. That's right, you were saying it was pretty good in one of the comments on the video, yeah? Eric saying I usually hang back and find my beats in the conversation to contribute. Me too, mate. I'm always like, I've not got that much to say anyway, but when I think, okay, I've got something good to say here, I'm waiting for that moment, waiting for a slight pause. You can be waiting forever, can't you, if you do that. I just don't like jumping in and talking over people. There you go, as you say, a balance of not stepping over someone else's talking, gently asserting that it's your time to speak. It's like that. Hey, hand up here. Hey, remember me? There we go. So yeah, it was pretty good. The Riddler. At one point, I thought I was calling it it was the most interesting Batman comic being out, being put out. But it did take 6 issues, so what's that? Every 2 months. It took pretty much a year. It's been coming out for a year. The first one came out in October, if I got that right, last year. So every 2 months a new issue came out, and they kept to that schedule. But it means that you kind of lost track of the story. So I'd be interested to see what it's like if you go back and read it, in one go, or read the graphic novel. Okay, let's get back to what else was out last week. Where are we? I also read, because Jim Werner from Weird Times Comics made me, I read Night Terror's Night's End, and we did a review of that. Again, when I could get a word in, I said a couple of things maybe, but it was mostly Jim. You know what he's like. But it was awful. It was a complete mess of a comic. It didn't tie hardly anything up. It seemed to introduce new things, new concepts in the final issue, the finale, which it was like they expected you to know this has been going on the whole time. It was a terrible comic. I think I gave it 2 or 2.5 out of 10, which is very rare for me, for Gray, Mr. Positivity. I did enjoy Wolverine 36 because it's part of the Weapons of Vengeance, Ghost Rider, Wolverine kind of team-up book with a focus on horror. That was all right. And I've got a couple of shout-outs I'm going to show you a little bit. So without further ado, let's stop sharing this. Eric is saying that he read a bit of Riddler Year 1, issue 6, but yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? You missed the build, or you missed what was going on. I did like the art though, Eric. Do you like that style of art? And Night's End, absolutely. Ooh, it was terrible, wasn't it? Positively awful. Absolutely. So let's have a look. Where are we? I want to share, first of all, the Incredible Hulk issue 3. Just give you a little look at some of the pages from next. The art. The art's gorgeous. It's really, really good. See if this is working. Okay, make it full screen. So issue 3 came out last week. Its legacy number for the Hulk, 784. First of all, look at that cover. Tentacles. It's all gone Cthulhu. It's Cthulhu taking over. Do not awaken the elder gods. It's called That Old Time Religion Part 2, written by Philip Kennedy Johnson with art by Nick Klein, colours by Matthew Wilson, and VC's Corey Petit on the letters. There we go. Just like this style. I like Nick Klein's style. It does remind me of the kind of old-fashioned kind of horror comic, almost like a Man-Thing, or even not really Swamp Thing. What else do you go for? Hellboy, BPRP, was it BRPD? Whatever that is. That kind of style. What do you think? I think Eric will like this because you can see cross-hatching, you can see shading, you can see pen strokes. Oh my god, how gorgeous do they look. Proper pencil and inking by the looks of things. Eric, what do you reckon to the colours though? Is it digital? Well, it's all digital colouring these days, isn't it? Unfortunately. There you go. Yeah, looking good, looking good. What do you think? Let's get back to one of those powerful pages. Boom, there, look at that. On the opening page. Now let me get back to the stream, see where you all are. Okay, we've got Eric saying that Joshua Williamson can write decent superhero fare, yet he has trouble landing the plane, as they say, on these events. I think he starts events quite well, but he can't finish them. But this one, it felt like a real unplanned event from what we heard from different creators and from friends. I've heard that they were basically the writers were just told, okay, please come up with something sort of horror based to do with nightmares. Put the main character through some kind of nightmare, and if you can bring in this insomnia villain, this new villain to do with that, and that was pretty much it. So some of them did involve that, some of the titles didn't. They kind of did their own thing. For me, the most interesting one was the Detective Comics two-parter by Dan Waters, who I'm enjoying very much at the moment. Yes, that was it. You were talking about that, weren't you, Eric? The onomatopoeia in Hulk 3. Good stuff. Gorgeous. Good to see that. I love it when you get the big blocky, like the 3D lettering or the kind of sound effects, as you say, onomatopoeia. So cool. In Japan, by the way, they love them. They love it. If you've seen the manga, there are absolutely thousands of them. Things like Doki Doki. Doki Doki is like when you're excited, it's like the sound of your heart beating. Waku Waku as well. Waku Waku is another one for excitement. I feel Waku Waku. Wakizashi. So what else do we have? I've got one more I want to share. Go back to, just make that smaller. So that's it for the Hulk. Another one to share is Blade issue 2. I talked about this in a live stream. I talked a little bit about this on Thinking Critical. But yeah, I've never really read the comic before. Of course, I know the character. Love the Wesley Snipes original movie. But this, it's like sexy. It's got art by Eleanor Casagrande. Inkers, 2 inkers on there. She inks it herself, and also Roberto Poggi, or Poggi. Brian Hill's writing this. It's Mother of Evil. Mother of Evil Part 2. We open with Japan, so you've got Grey straight away with that, haven't you? Get it over with, just pull the trigger. Blam! Ooh. Hi Tulip, we need to talk, says Blade. Look at that at the bottom, look at the guy. He's gone, he's lost his head. Lost my head. And then we go here. We see like this lovely, to me, like great art and sexy art for Marvel Comics. You never see this anymore. You never see, not, what do you call, titillating scenes, shall we just put it politely. Looking good, look at that. So yeah, opens very well, very sexily, and then we move on to, boom, some crazy action. Look at this. That is a great page. Got Blade. You see him kind of making his progress from jumping onto a helicopter that's attacking them, goes inside, takes out the crew, comes back, watches the helicopter crash. Boom. I like it. It's kind of a simple line. You can tell, yeah, some of the art is digital, but I think it's very, storytelling, what do you call it, storyboard style almost. Great action. Exciting. What do you think? So that was a recommend if you've not picked it up. If you're interested, it's only on issue 2, so you can jump in right now. Blade issue 2. And I've got one more. Where was it? One is from DC. I also did a review of the Doomsday Special. Please do check that out, which is again written by Dan Waters. It's Action Comics presents Doomsday Special #1. It's got 2 stories, both by Dan Waters, and it's basically Doomsday in Hell and then a Bloodwind story. And Bloodwind's a character I don't know. Yeah, Eric, right. Colours are okay. Cut and paste. Onomatopoeia really stand out next to the authentic hand-drawn ones in the Hulk. Yeah, I hear you. So from DC, not a lot to get excited about, but let me share something different. This might surprise you. DC have been bringing out some, 2 manga titles currently. Now, I think these have already been out in Japan, like maybe last year or 2 years ago. There's a Superman versus Meishi, which is food manga, very goofy, very funny, and there's a Batman one with Joker called Joker 1 Operation Joker. The title there in you can see a little bit of katakana next to the big white letters of Joker. It says One-Oppe Joker. So One-Oppe is short for One Operation. Let's have a look at some of the art by Satoshi Miyagawa with, I think it's art by Keisuke Goto. Why do you trust me? Why aren't you suspicious? Does B really follow A? Clink. Who can say with conviction that Z, or Z for British English, the end doesn't follow A? We've got Joker here talking, yeah? Don't believe anything. Doubt the truth. And then he's pumping a little bit of baby soap into his hand. And yet, you're entrusting me with your life. Why? Then we get double page spread. If I withdrew my arm right now, splash, splash, you would drown. So it's part 5, chapter 5 of One Operation Joker. And it's a crazy concept. Come on, it's manga for a start. What's happened is, in the first chapter, the opening issue, Batman was chasing Joker, and instead of the Joker falling into the vat of chemicals, it was Batman who fell in. Obviously, it was a different vat of chemicals to the one that made the Joker, or made his face or his skin, and it transformed Batman into a baby. So since then, Joker's like, oh no, I've got to look after him now. I need him to grow up to become, Batman, so that we can have our relationship, our crazy, what do you call it? I need him to be who I am, and he needs me, kind of thing. So yeah, completely bonkers, but a lot of fun, goofy fun. But I'll tell you what, I'm almost enjoying the Superman versus Meishi manga even more. It's like Superman going for having a lunch in Japan, trying out different Japanese restaurants, different kinds of food, losing control of his powers by how delicious the food is. At one point you see him, this is incredible, and he shoots the laser beams out of his eyes, the heat beams. Oh god, it's crazy. It's just a lot of fun. Anyway, that's enough of that. Okay. Hey Victor, how are you? Hey Graham, a huge fan. What do you think of crowd-funded comic books? Have you ever backed some? I have in the especially in more the earlier days. I've got a couple of Jawbreakers books. I have the Cyberfrog, the first volume of Cyberfrog. Still waiting for my second volume, which has been like coming up to 3 years now in the waiting for that. What else? I backed one by oh no, I can't remember now. I got one of the Lady Death ones. Have you heard of those? That was great package. Like good book, loads of like extras, stickers, buttons, like badges and things. And I'm forgetting one. A couple more. Michael Bancroft, I backed his. But to be honest, for me, the problem is the postage living in Japan. It's between, the cheapest I've paid is maybe $25, and it's up to $35 for just for postage for, a slim 80 or 90 page graphic novel, and then they charge $25, $30 for the graphic novel. So you're talking $70. It's a lot of money to put out. If I had a lot more money, I'd probably back a lot more. But yeah, I appreciate the question, mate, and thanks for popping in. I really do appreciate that. Great to see you. Hey, Eric, you didn't mind the Batman... Oh, we're going to start about talking about that, are you? I thought it was terrible, man, but that's just me. That's just me. I don't like the art. I don't like the style. I don't like the way Catwoman was written. I didn't like Teenie Howard's take. Even Chip Zdarsky. I've taken Batman off my pull list. Speaking of new releases for this week, there's a new issue of Batman coming out. Not interested, mate. I'm out. Where are we? Let's go. Let's get rid of the banners there. Wait a minute, to do that, I need to drop your comment. Go to banners. So that was last week's Comic Rex. I might have missed a couple, but yeah, it was a quiet week really, because it was the fifth comic book week anyway. There were 5 Tuesdays, maybe even 5 Wednesdays in August. I didn't get to the Scorched. As I say, I didn't like Batman, Catwoman, the Gotham War. Didn't enjoy it, I'm afraid. What else? Conan the Barbarian, how could I forget? Conan issue 2 came out. I did a review of that. It's doing pretty well. I loved it. Love the comic book. Conan is so good. Great art by De La Torre and that. So yeah, that was last week. Let's get back to you guys in the chat. There we go. I heard about this, Eric, the Sean Gordon Murphy's Plot Holes. I thought about backing it when it first came out, but I didn't get around to it. And somebody who watches my videos, I think his name's Nuke. He was talking about it in the comments, saying he got his copy and it's pretty good. Well, I think he said very good. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, the black vinegar chicken. It was fun, wasn't it? Kind of weird, but it's very Japanese, very manga style, and the art's decent. Thanks for dropping in, Zombie. How are you? I'm doing very well. Cooling down after a hot, sunny late summer's Monday at the work. Okay, Eric's saying he got Fiendish issue 2 by Irene. I can't pronounce her name. Strychalski. It's really, really good. Irene, yeah? Is she the one that does? No, I'm thinking of somebody else. Not Renee Draws. That's somebody else, isn't it? I don't know if it's still up. I haven't checked, mate, but I just heard from one of my someone who watches my videos was saying that he got his copy and it was good. Okay, Eric, thanks. The plot hose is being released in floppy form at the LCS now. I don't know about the crowd-funded version. Okay, so Sean's put it out, has he? Grew in the Wild issue 2 was so much fun, was it? Issue 1, it was kind of like, yeah, it's Grew is Grew. You got to be in the right mood for it, but Grew means a lot to me, Eric. Seriously, that was the I talked about this before, but I grew up in the UK and I used to buy comics like 2000 AD. The G.I. Joe version in the UK was called Action Force or Battle Action Force. Used to read those. And then I used to like kind of sneak reads of my brother's American comic books. He was a big fan of Batman. He also had some Master of Kung Fu, like near the end of that run, of course, because it was late 70s, early 80s. And he also had the Star Wars Marvel comics, the first few of those. But he had the British versions, which were published in a bigger magazine format, and they were in black and white. Anyway, I'm waffling, but the first American comic book I bought with my own money, and it was in like a local, what do you call it, a convenience store. It's like in England we call it a newsagents. I just found this copy of Gru. I think it was issue 17, Pescate or something. It's on the cover you see Gru and he's in the sea. It looks like he's being chased by a huge shoal of piranhas. It's crazy. And so I've got a real like love for Gru. Yeah, that's it. That's my history lesson for the day. Oh, 9 out of 10 says Eric for Fiendish 2. Wow, that is good. Very high. Yeah, you do have to be in the mood, but it is great art by Aragones. And of course, as you say, Eric, hand lettering by the legend Stan Sakai of Usagi Yojimbo fame. Another big favourite of mine. So let's go to what's coming out this week. Where are we? Get the banner up. New releases. Tomorrow is, for me, well, it's Monday where you are now, isn't it? Yeah, Tuesday, the 5th of September, 2023. Let's see what's coming out. Just share screen. As I was mentioning earlier, now this is the League of Comic Books website where they put the new releases in order of user pull. So how many people are pulling the issue. Batman's first here. 137 comes out. As I say, it's I don't know, I'm out of Batman until I think, unless not even change the writer, but if I hear there's a good story, I might come back to it. And I feel bad saying that. Batman's one of my first loves too. After Gru, it was Gru, Spidey, Daredevil, and Batman in that order, and then I kind of gravitated more towards DC and became really into Batman and Detective, and Legends of the Dark Knight when that first came out, and then I graduated to Vertigo titles, even before they were Vertigo. Animal Man, Shade, The Changing Man, Hellblazer, Sandman. So, oh yeah, Doom Patrol, how can I forget? Amazing Spider-Man issue 33 comes out. I will probably be reviewing that because it's been a wild ride. I think I've reviewed almost every issue of this new controversial run by Zeb Wells. I skipped a few during the Dark Web non-event because I thought it was just nonsense. But if you check my channel, you'll see a playlist of Marvel Comics reviews, and you'll find like Amazing Spider-Man from issue 1 all the way up till now. Can you believe it? Is Grey insane? Moon Knight, if you're buying that's out, issue 27. X-Men 26. Immortal X-Men 15. Wow, not reading those. we've got Dawn of DC. It's back, everyone. So apart from Batman, you've got the next one listed is Poison Ivy. Wow. That's interesting that it's the second most pulled DC release for this week. No way. I thought, where are we? Shazam. Excuse me, we're behind that. So, second row, we got, as I say, Shazam issue 3 is coming out. That's Mark Waid, Dan Mora. It's goofy, it's fun, it's crazy and kooky. The Addams Family. Justice Society of America. Not reading that, but I've heard it's pretty good. And we have a new number 1 here, Birds of Prey. Now let's see, who is writing this? Who is writing? Kelly Thompson. Okay. And art by Leonardo Romero. I don't know what it's going to be like. It's only $3.99 though. That's rare. Normally $4.99 when they come out. DC now. Breaking hearts and faces. The Birds of Prey are back. Every mission matters. Every life saved is a miracle. But this time, it's personal. Come on. It's always personal, isn't it? Dinah Lance is one of the DCU's most elite fighters, and combined with her sonic scream, she's a fearsome foe in any scenario. But sometimes even the Black Canary needs help. Faced with a personal mission brought to her by a mysterious new ally, up against near impossible odds, she reforms the Birds of Prey with an unrivaled group of badasses. Cassandra Cain, Big Barda, Zella and Harley Quinn. And only one goal, extraction without bloodshed. There we go. Any interest in that for you guys and girls out there? Birds of Prey? Who used to write that? Was it Gail Simone a long time ago? And Chuck Dixon, did he write it for a bit? I can't remember. Anyway, that was it's a new number 1. And there's also Blue Beetle. There's a new number 1 for Blue Beetle coming out tomorrow, Tuesday. Let's have a look at this. Bad timing. You should have had it out before the movie came out. What were you doing? But hey, it was Night Terrors, wasn't it? So this is also only $3.99. That's rare for a new number 1. Is it Jaime? I don't know how to pronounce it. Jaime. I used to call him Jamie. I was completely wrong. His graduation is over, but his new life in Palmyra City and as the Blue Beetle has only just begun. With 2 new beetles to train in Dynasties and Nitida, James has his hands full navigating being a leader. Thankfully, he has Paco and Brenda by his side as they settle in at Palmyra State University. But what lurks in the shadows of the hearts of men? What lurks in the shadows of Blue Beetle's new home, and what does it mean for the Blue Beetle legacy? Written by Josh Trujillo, is it Trujillo? Arts by Adrian Gutierrez and colours by Will Quintana. What do you think? Who's that cover by? The main one. Let's click on it and see. Okay, it doesn't say. Ooh. Okay, pretty cool. Oh, I like that one. That's pretty cool. The Emmanuel Valtierra cardstock variant. Pablo Villalobos Hispanic Heritage Month cardstock variant. Wow. And a blank. That's pretty cool too. Karen Grant. I don't know. I thought about trying this. What do you think if you're still there? Would you go for a Blue Beetle issue 1? Wow, sorry, I missed so many comments. Great to see. People jumping in. Fantastic. Fear Monarch is here. Stan and Peach are the only people who really win awards that I think deserve them. Yeah, you managed to catch a live one. Great to see you, man. That's cool. Eric's saying he's looking forward to Spidey 33. Okay, good. I quite enjoyed the last one, and I got quite a few downvotes for that, Eric, for saying it wasn't too bad, the last issue, because I'm a sucker for Kraven. I like a bit of Kraven the Hunter, even though I've lost track of which version it is of Kraven. And you're going to pick up Shazam 3, are you? Good. You like your goofy stuff, don't you? But come on, that Dan Mora art. Who can say no? Fear Monarch 2, yeah. Shazam B covers. Going for Tony. Tony's my boy. Okay. Thanks, Eric. Yeah, I wasn't sure, but I heard that Gail Simone's Birds of Prey was really good back in the day. That was back when she was just a good comic book writer. Not worried about all the other nonsense. Zealot is a misfit and totally overpowered. Okay, I didn't know that. Morning, Michael. Where are you? Michael Zillo, great to see you. Thank you so much for your support. And Eric, too. I really appreciate it. You guys are members. You guys rule. Have a happy Labor Day. You guys got a long weekend. I forgot all about it. Jaime. Is it Jaime? Thank you for the correction. That's awesome to pronounce it. So that's Blue Beetle, yeah. Jaime Reyes. Or Reyes. And Fear Monarch is saying, for whatever reason, his LCS got the first issue of The Sacrificers last week. And, okay, you are extremely interested for the next issue. Ooh, I might have had a sneak preview of that, by the way, which, yeah, it's looking very, very good, very intriguing. Let me get back to that so you know what I'm talking about. The Sacrificers issue 2 comes out on Wednesday. It's written by Rick Remender, really good art by Max Fiumara of Fiumara. I've seen his work before on some of the Hellboy titles. Yeah, it's good. It's a weird kind of indie fantasy style with anthropomorphic characters in there. I liked what I saw of the first issue. I did a joint review with Jim from Weird Science Comics. It's on his channel. So yeah, look at this. Oh, there's an Eric Kanate. Is it Eric Kanate? I can't say his name. He's been on the show, hasn't he, Eric? Eric Kanate. Look at this. Great cover from him, a variant cover. Wow. I like the look of that. And there's okay, Andrew McLean variant. Not sure about that one. And the main cover, of course. Cool. Wow. So yeah. If you like a bit of fantasy, something different, you know what Rick Remender's like, give that a try, see what you think. Okay, you've read it, have you? What do you think, Eric? Is it good? Would you recommend it? And Eric's saying he likes the Jaime, is that right? Go back to it. Jaime. Jaime Reyes as a character. I'll check it out in my digital stash, but probably won't pick it up. Let's get physical. Michael's saying that after the movie, I'll stay away from Blue Beetle, but I'll definitely listen to you talk about it. What's going on there? Yes, I believe so. She was a competent writer once upon a time. And Fearmont is going to keep his eyes peeled for that 1 in 10 if it's cheap. Fantastic colours, right? Gorgeous. And he gets a recommend from Eric. Okay, that's good to hear. Thanks for that. What else have I got my eye on for next week? For this week, what I'm talking about. Not a lot was leaping out at me. I was thinking of going for the Ghost Rider, Wolverine, Weapons of Vengeance. It's the finale of that because I've been enjoying it. And I'm kind of 50-50 on Blue Beetle. Sacrificers I will be checking out. Need to go down a bit. Sure, there was something else. What surprised me, there's no Spawn release coming out this week, which is unusual. There must have been a double week, or maybe because it was a 5-week month, but there's usually always a Spawn title coming out. Heatseeker. Type from Titan. I might pick one of these up. Have you ever tried the Heatseeker series, the Gun Honey series? The finest kind of pulp noir, says Ed Brubaker. This has been written by Charles Ardai, and it's got art by Ace Continuado. A great name. What do you think of the covers? Very nice. Ooh, it's pretty cool. Oh my goodness, what's going on there? There's a nude cover. A J. Ferguson variant. Wow. So yeah, I know what you're thinking, but I've heard like the stories are good. It's good like pulpy noir with a strong female, protagonist. So who was recommending that? Nuke was maybe recommending I check it out, give it a try, see what I think. How about you guys in there? Have you seen it? Have you read any of those? I know, Grey, One Track Mind. Okay, Eric, you're looking forward to Black Panther 4. Issue 3 was solid. I only read issue 1 and I didn't continue. And for those interested, there's Batman Day with an exclusive foil for 608. The first Hush issue. Ooh, that's interesting. Thanks, Firmon, I appreciate it. Silver Surfer got Ron Lim and Don Ho on pencils and inks. Is there a new Silver Surfer coming out? I completely missed it. They just had like a, what do you call it, a limited series, didn't they? Of a, I can't remember what that was, but I was not impressed. Oh, you're right, mate. Here it is. Rebirth. Silver Surfer Rebirth Legacy Issue 1. Price $3.99. Ron Mars, writer, and Ron Lim on pencils. Don Ho, as you said, on inks. The Sentinel of the Spaceways has taken the son of Captain Marvel, Genus, under his wing. But even the power of Cosmic can't replace the love of a father. The Surfer knows something that might just be able to soothe a broken heart. But is it worth a clash with the Infinity Watch? Beloved creators Ron Mars and Ron Lim return to a story from their celebrated run on Silver Surfer, and they're not the only time travelers. Nice. Sounding good, man. That might be worth a look. Thanks for the shout out, Eric. I'd completely forgotten about that. Very cool. It's the same team that was on the recent Warlock Rebirth. Okay, I appreciate it, yeah. That was good art, wasn't it? I wasn't sure about the story, but the art was decent. I liked it. Okay, that's it for new releases, as far as I can see. I've got one more thing I wanted to talk about. It's a bit of comic news. It's not, what do you call it, like exclusive or anything. It's just, it caught my eye, and it's related to something that I've been rereading at the moment and reviewing with Jim on Weird Science Comics. We're covering different Grant Morrison, early titles by Grant Morrison. We've been doing Invisibles, Doom Patrol, and Animal Man. So yeah, which reminds me, I've got to finish editing the last Animal Man we did, issue 4. I know, I've been crazy busy. So what I want to talk about briefly is this article from CBR. I know, right? But anyway, this is what caught my eye, you'll see. DC's British invasion changed the comic industry for the better, written by David Harth. It was published 20 hours ago, it says here. Now, I know this is kind of old news to a lot of you, but it just gave me a bit of a, a flash to the past. As I was saying earlier, I got into comics with traditional titles like Spider-Man, Daredevil, Batman, Gru. Good old Gru was not traditional, but still got a lot of love for Gru. Eventually led to me finding titles like Jamie Delano's Hellblazer, Grant Morrison. Was it Animal Man before Doom Patrol? It was, wasn't it? Yeah, Grant Morrison on Animal Man, Peter Milligan doing Shade, The Changing Man, and of course, the big one, Neil Gaiman's Sandman. So just let me read a little bit from this article, see if you remember these days, and I'm sure Eric knows what I'm talking about, and Dwayne, if you're still there, mate. DC Comics has produced many of the greatest works of sequential art of the last 40 years. Don't forget, this is the writer, David Harth, his opinion. Since the mid-1980s, DC has had a stranglehold on prestige comics. I remember that, the prestige format. Titles like this Black Orchid here by Neil Gaiman and Dave McKean. Yeah, prestige format, wow. Those books are considered works of art by anyone who's experienced them. A very large factor in this was the British invasion of the 1980s. Now think about that, we're talking 40 years ago. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Makes me feel really old. When Jeanette Kahn, the head of DC Comics at the time, and editor Karen Berger, I never know how to pronounce that, but oh man, Karen Berger, what a star, what a superstar. She went to the UK with Jeanette Kahn to trawl for talent after the successes of Alan Moore, Brian Bolland, Dave Gibbons, and other British creators. The British invasion brought over an infusion of talent that made DC Comics in the late 80s to the mid 90s the best comic publisher going, in this writer's opinion. Not mine, remember, but I must admit I did prefer DC back then. I've got to say that. I was always, sorry, don't kill me in the chat, I was DC over Marvel back in those days. If I'd been older and if I'd grown up in the 70s, like reading comics, I probably would have got into Marvel more. Classic 70s titles like Tomb of Dracula, Master of Kung Fu, my goodness, the Doctor Strange at the time. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. So you're talking about these creators changed, changed the game forever. Look at this here. Swamp Thing, Love and Death, Alan Moore, Stephen Bissett, John Tuttleben. The 1980s were an exciting time to be a comic fan. Comic books had started to grow, and DC Comics was leading the renaissance with books like Swamp Thing. Writer Alan Moore, one of the grumpiest and most miserable Birmingham writers in the world. He was an English writer who had gotten attention for his work within the British comic industry. Moore was a shining star, but he wasn't the only British creator making waves at the time. Brian Bolland, known for his time drawing Judge Dredd in 2000 AD, which I used to buy, made a huge splash drawing Camelot 3000 and was considered by many to be the best artist of his generation. Dave Gibbons was also getting his share of attention. The British comic industry was a prize, and DC wanted to bring its energy to the US. Just bear with me a little bit more. Editor Karen Berger, who'd been working with Alan Moore and several of the other British creators, again went with Jeanette Kahn to London. They'd meet more British creators. Let me skip forward a little bit. Okay. Several creators have talked about their pitch meetings back then, and one of the best is Neil Gaiman's, as told in the Sandman Companion. Gaiman was speaking to DC legend Dick Giordano and pitched him what would become Neil Gaiman's first work for DC Comics, Black Orchid. You can see a little picture here with art by the wonderful Dave McKean back in the early days of their time in the comic book or the art world. Apparently, Giordano, or I don't know if it's a hard G or a soft G. I was in my head when I was a kid, it was always Dick Giordano. He didn't understand Gaiman when he started talking about Black Orchid, a minor Silver Age DC character. And Giordano said he'd have to see if DC had the rights to Black Hawk Kid. Black Hawk Kid! Da-da-da-da-da-da. Black Orchid became Black Hawk Kid. It's a funny story, but it also shows something important about the early stages of the British invasion. Just looking back at the books that came out of the British invasion, Black Orchid, Animal Man, Hellblazer, only one of them was about a contemporary DC character, and that was Hellblazer, with of course good old John Constantine. The other two were Silver Age characters that no one had thought about in ages. So back then, yeah, Black Orchid, Animal Man were Silver Age characters. Okay, I'm just going to skip ahead. There we go. And brings us to Grant Morrison. God, I'm tell you what, I'm so enjoying the reread of Animal Man and Doom Patrol and Invisibles. It's weird that we did it in that order. We kind of reverse ordered it. I was like, Jim, you got to try the Invisibles. It's not completely bonkers and crazy. There is a good story in there. The way he builds the characters, the characters, the way it's at. Yeah, it's crazy, Grant Morrison, but, it's not all madness. And going back to it, it's like, yes, the characters are huge in Invisibles. Same thing can be said for Doom Patrol. It's weird, it's wonderful, it's freaky, it's fun, it's different, but it's got really good characters and a good and strong sense of humour. And then we went to Animal Man and we're up to issue 4 of that. And again, I keep repeating it, the characters are so well built, carefully, and there's a nice family dynamic in Animal Man that I'm really enjoying. So yeah, I'm not going to read the rest of the thing, but you got Grant Morrison, it says Animal Man, Delano on Hellblazer, Sandman, Gaiman. That was it. And Shade the Changing Man, which I did read for quite a while, but that was the one I think I was always close to dropping that. Peter Milligan. It was interesting, it was good, it was something different, but I was kind of just getting it for the sake at one point. But yeah, they were the ones. That was the good old days of what became the Vertigo line. Wow. Anyway, let me get back to you. That's enough of that. Enough comic news. So it's not really news, just wanted to, give a bit of a shout out to the past, to Gray's roots. Eric saying he's here for the Grant Morrison series. Good stuff. Fear Monarch actually finally started Animal Man chronologically since I've got the Omni. And my God, I can't wait until you guys get to 7. How amazing is it? The Coyote Gospel. Coyote Gospel, it's so good. It has to be one of many people's favourite single issues of all time. It was impressive, wasn't it, Black Orchid? I don't know, Eric, I never really got into it as much as the other titles. You could tell it was an early work by Gaiman, but yeah, gorgeous art by Dave McKean, no doubt about that. Karen Berger is the glue that holds that era together. I 100% agree. The mature reader's format that led to Vertigo in 1993. And Fearmonic saying he just learned recently that Neil Gaiman wrote Coraline, which was a book before the movie. Yes, a book that I read first before I saw the great adaptation, the great animated movie of it. It's a good book. It's dark. It's back in the days when Neil Gaiman was still like trying hard and being a good writer. Eric saying his favourite standout of that era was The Shadow, started by Howard Chaykin but taken over by the editor Andy Helfer when Chaykin left the book. I've owned the run 4 different times now. No way, man. The Shadow run introduced me to Kyle Baker's amazing art. Oh, that sounds cool. Oh, that's right, mate. You're right. Sorry, yeah, I'm getting mixed up. Coyotes 5. The Coyote Gospel's that good, Fearmonic, that it was my time, last Wednesday night. So last Wednesday morning, me and Jim did the recording American time, and I still haven't got it up yet. I'm sorry. Issue 4, and preparing for that, I'd already read it once. I reread it for the show before we went live, and it was really good. And I saw the next issue is issue 5, The Coyote Gospel. I couldn't stop. I went straight through that as well. Reread that. I was almost late for the recording because I just got pulled into the Coyote Gospel. I see. So issue 7. Now you've got me really intrigued because, yeah, I was getting mixed up with that. No way. Is that with the Mirror Master brings into it? That's issue 6, isn't it? Anyway, yeah, thanks for that. I look forward to it. Brilliant. Woo! Has anyone read any of the Berger books on Dark Horse, the Karen Berger line? No, I tried one, and Ascentes, The Seeds, but I don't know, man. It was really, really dark and kind of dull and gloomy. Didn't enjoy it. Haven't tried any of the others. And how are we doing? 47 minutes. As you know, I like to keep these Monday morning streams short and simple, to the point. Talked about the last week's recommendations, talked about this week's recommendations, and hey, no way, what's going on? Thank you for gifting that. Your Barmy, you star. Your Barmy gifts a membership, and Mick Cope just became a member. Even if you're there, Mick, do drop a comment. Let me know how you're doing. Good to see you. Got me a big arigato to Your Barmy. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Come on, man, you don't need to do that. You're already a member. That is huge. I really appreciate it. Where are we? A wakizashi waffle. Boom, there we go. Thank you. Just became a member of the Wakizashi Dojo. I love all the setups, says Eric, in the opening issues of Animal Man that pays off, such as Buddy being distracted by superheroics, that he's not around to protect his family. And also we see like Ellen's an illustrator. She's drawing, illustrations. They could also be seen as comic book panels, which comes up, a lot later on. There's a great setup with the son Cliff wearing an Anthrax, heavy metal band Anthrax t-shirt in the first issue, and then issue 3 and 4, the real Anthrax comes into it. That's an early setup. That's really cool. Great, that's awesome. So I think that's about it. That's all I wanted to talk about. Yeah, excited for another week of comics. Looking forward to DC kind of getting back to normal. Yeah, right. The only news I've heard that kind of stuck in my head was James Tynion. He's bringing out a new comic book version of Dracula with art by, is it Martin Simmons? I think I got that right, who's famous for working with him on oh my God, I'm blanking. Jesus, what's the conspiracy theory book he's been doing? You know the one I mean, don't you? Oh my God, talk about Stream Brain. But yeah, James Tynion's bringing out a Dracula book, so that sounds quite good because he can do horror well. I'm still kind of like running hot and cold on James Tynion, so we'll see how it goes, but maybe look out for that. Looking forward to that's it, the Department of Truth. That's it, mate, the Department of Truth. Thank you. You totally blanked. So that's a real dark kind of Vertigo style of art, which would suit Dracula very well. Looking forward to that. Eric, you were going to enjoy your day off by shooting video content for your channel. Going back to daily comic book talk after taking August off. Glad you had a good break, mate. Good holiday. I hope you're enjoying some good physical copies as well these days. I know you're supporting your local comic book shop, getting those indies. You were shouting out a recommendation for Local Hero, weren't you? Is it Local Hero Gold? I must check that out, mate. So thanks for that. And for everybody who's been watching this long, I really appreciate it. You are wonderful. Here's a brief clip of one of the best animated movies of all time before I go. Tetsuo! Thanks for watching. See you in a future video. This is Gray signing off. Matane!